It is my pleasure to introduce the panelists for this session. Innovative Landscapes, Designing a Booming Business Ecosystem. Mr. K.T. Ramarao, fondly known as KTR, is the son of Mr. K. Chandrasekhar Rao, first Chief Minister of Telangana. He has held multiple ministerial roles, including IT and Industries, Municipal Administration and Urban Development, holds an MSc in Biotechnology and an MBA from City University of New York. Currently, he is working as president of BRS party. He had worked under the leadership of his father to bring statehood to Telangana. Few of his achievements: he is well known for policy disruption, doubled IT exports in 5 years, established T-Hub, the largest startup incubator in the world to support 20,000 plus startups. And the world's largest innovation campus is being set up now on 18 acres. He set up TaSC to generate skilled workers, launched Water Grid project providing tap water to 10 million homes, Fiber Grid, optic fiber to 10 million homes, played a huge role in building the world's largest lift irrigation project in Kalveshwaram in 4 years. He initiated T-App Folio, a one-stop solution for citizens for government services. Agriculture expanded by 119%, green cover improved by 7.7%. He launched e-Panchayat project, launched V-Hub, India's first exclusive incubator for women entrepreneurs. Y-Hub, to inculcate entrepreneurial mindset in youngsters. Initiated Telangana State iPass, a single window clearance system for business setup. Entrepreneurs can even self-certify their compliances. A global agency called Mercer rates Hyderabad 6 times in a row as the best city to live in India. CNN IBN recognized KTR as the most inspirational icon of the year. His mantra is economics, 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 employment, employment, employment. Welcome to TiECON Kerala, Mr. K.T. Ramarao. I'll start off with the first question. I'd like to call you KTR if that's okay.
You can call me KTR, call me Ram, call me anything. It's perfectly fine, yeah? Thank you for hosting us. Thank you really for inviting us, Anisha, the entire team of TiECON Kerala. I think you guys have done a fabulous job in organizing a brilliant event. Compliments to you, and I think they deserve a big round of applause for themselves, all the TiECON organizers. Thank you.
Thank you. You've played a very pivotal role in establishing T-Hub. What inspired you and your team to create the world's largest startup incubator? If you can just give us the story.
For those of you who are not familiar with T-Hub, let me firstly quickly introduce to you a little bit about what the idea was, the genesis, why it had to be done, etc. So in 2014, the new state of Telangana was formed after a protracted struggle and decades of huge, I would say, uproar from the people. Eventually, I think in parliamentary democracy, the people do win eventually. That's exactly how Telangana happened. When Telangana happened, there were lots of doubts on the viability of the state and how it would do industry-wise, what would happen to Hyderabad. For those of you who are not probably familiar, Hyderabad is deeply inside the state of Telangana. So it is, 2.5 hours anywhere from the borders of Telangana. So there were a lot of questions on the cosmopolitan fabric of Hyderabad, the industry there, especially the software industry, which had become a powerhouse by then already. When I assumed office as a Minister for Technology in 2014 on the 2nd of June, the very second day after I took charge, I deliberated at a place called the Indian School of Business, which is one of the finest business schools in India. It's probably now ranked higher than the Indian Institutes of Management. So I went there, sat with all the professors, and then adjoining the ISB, we also have a brilliant institution called as the IIIT Hyderabad. Sat with them. We just asked ourselves one question. Hyderabad has taken off, doing well. The services space, we're doing well as a software powerhouse. But what is the X factor that innovation nodes like Bangalore or Silicon Valley have, which we do not? So we deliberated for a bit, and then we eventually, when we walked out of the room, we realized and agreed between all of us that for us to create a platform for innovators, because innovation is going to be the next big wave, so we needed to create one such kind of a platform. So between ISB, the government of Telangana, IIIT Hyderabad, and then we also have a brilliant law school called as Nalsar. So between all these four institutions, we agreed that we will create India's largest incubator. Now, what would it do? People can walk in with any kind of an idea, and we will help you, take you through the process. A lot of times entrepreneurs, youngsters have great ideas, but they don't know how to give it a shape. So what T-Hub does is exactly that. It gives you an opportunity, it gives you a platform to learn from mentors, to connect with peers, to raise money, to write a business plan, to understand the legal process, to understand everything that it takes to create a business. So we created in 2015, in 2014 I became a minister. By 2015 early we were ready to launch it in about 70,000 square feet. But I wanted one gentleman to inaugurate it. That was Mr. Ratan Tata. So I reached out to him. I said, sir, you have to come inaugurate. He said, I'm a bit sick, I can't make it now. So I waited for almost 4 months to let Mr. Tata inaugurate it. The reason why I say all this is because I believe Mr. Tata today symbolizes the kind of change that is sweeping the country. Now here is this gentleman who's a septuagenarian, who's 70 plus, and every day, typically when you think of Tata, you think of robust trucks, you think of manufacturing, you think of big engines. But here is this guy, day in, day out, investing in startups. So I said, there can't be a better person to inaugurate than, this facility than him. So that's how T-Hub Phase 1 happened, which was India's largest. 2 years later, we inaugurated what is called as the reactor building, which is the world's largest incubator with about 500,000, which is 5 lakh plus square foot, which can help about 2,000 plus startups under one roof. So that's how it happened.
Fantastic,
Cheers.
fantastic. Yeah. So the same location has the largest innovation center.
Yes, and incidentally, it's not just about startups and software, India being a software powerhouse. If you look at a small country like Taiwan, it has become a powerhouse for electronics, and China, of course, we all know is a leader. So we started looking at why India really does not have, that kind of a presence in manufacturing, especially electronics. Then we realized that, the design thinking concepts, which are typically inculcated in other countries from a very early stage. I had visited Japan as a minister about 7-8 years ago. One of the fascinating things, I was waiting to meet Mr. Osamu Suzuki, who is the chairman of Suzuki. And I was told that he's in a board meeting. Why don't you go to the museum right next door, Suzuki Museum? I said, I'm not a big fan of museums. I don't want to go. They said, no, it's interesting. Please go visit. So I was there, generally strolling through the museum. Then I see these kids, 5 and 6-year-old kids, probably in their elementary school. So they're all going around in the museum. So I said, what are these kids doing here? For an adult like me, museum is boring. What are these kids doing? They said, watch. So I was watching these kids. They went from one place to another, and then there is a kiosk where the kid could select what kind of car he or she would want, what kind of color, what kind of make, and what are the different accessories, etc. And then all you have to do is click a few buttons and then hit a button. And then, just like how you would get a Pepsi bottle from a vending machine, you would get a car of your choice with your name inscribed on it. See, that got me thinking. That's basically what Japanese are trying to do from a very early stage is letting the kids think that they can design products, that they can come out with new age prototypes. So then we started thinking after that tour, what should we do to encourage our youngsters, especially school kids in school, and maybe even hobbyists, even somebody who's probably in middle age as well, if they're wanting to do something as a hobby, to create a prototype, what could we do? Then we looked at a few things, and then we eventually said, let's create a prototyping facility. We call it T-Works. So it is again India's largest prototyping facility. It is embedded in the campus. Now the third thing that's coming up in the largest campus in 18 acres is called as Image Tower. Image. Image stands for Innovation in Multimedia, Animation, Gaming, and Entertainment. So between all these three different centers, Image, T-Works, and T-Hub, we have nearly 1.6 million square feet, which is 16 lakh square foot of footprint, physical footprint, which will house more than a few thousand startups, making it the world's largest campus. So our ambition was not to compete with Bangalore or anybody in India, but to actually make a global impact, and that's exactly what we achieved in a short span.
Very, very short span. It was brilliant. Telangana was founded on June 2014 with a per capita income of 1,24,000. And now in 23-24, the per capita income is 3,56,000. One of the highest, or you mentioned to me, it is the highest per capita in the world. That means 193% above the national average. So how did this happen?
Well, like I said, Telangana was formed not by luck or by chance. It took a lot of pluck, a lot of hard work, led by our leader, Mr. KTR. We fought really hard to make this state happen. So when the state happened, when the state actually was formed, we took it upon, this job as a challenge, as a task. We didn't look at it as just any other job, being a minister, being in government, doing fancy things, going one day and cutting a ribbon and saying hello and, posing for pictures, etc. We worked on getting our basics sorted. See, I'm a huge fan of your state, Kerala, because, when I was a student in school, I used to hear about how Kerala has achieved 100% literacy, etc. So even we wanted to start focusing on basics. Our power situation, our electricity situation was bad. We're a power deficit state. We wanted to become self-sufficient and then later surplus. Our drinking water situation was bad. So we wanted to ensure each and every home gets a portable drinking water connection. Our agri situation, again, our farmers were going through a crisis. There was huge distress. It is a holistic, integrated model that we, followed, resulting in some amazing things. Telangana has become the first state in India to provide a portable drinking water connection to each and every one of our 10 million homes, which is 1 crore households.
Fantastic. You deserve a round of applause for that.
This is a project called as Mission Bhagirath, which later inspired Government of India to start what is called as Jal Jeevan Mission. Now, which they're talking about Har Ghar Jal, which is, tap water connection to each and every home. Second thing we did, you may not be knowing this, but I urge you all, if you have a phone in your hands, please pull out your phone and please type in Google, if you can, please. World's largest lift irrigation project. World's largest lift irrigation project. For those of you who are trigger happy and who have speed, typing abilities, please tell me what the answer is. One of you? Ms. Revati Krishna says, Kaleshwaram. Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project is the answer. And that is in the state of Telangana, in our own country, India. But not many of us know this. We built this project in flat 3.5 years. And this is the world's largest lift irrigation project, where we draw water from 80 meters above sea level. And through multiple stages of lifting, we take it all the way to 618 meters above sea level. And this project is a multi-purpose project. It irrigates about 45 lakh acres of land in one cycle, one season, which if you take 2 seasons, it's about 90 lakh acres, which is 9 million acres. It also has 10% of water earmarked for industrial consumption, and it also provides for drinking water needs of a city like Hyderabad, and also en route, we have thousands of villages whose drinking water needs are met with. So these kind of marvelous projects, unfortunately, we didn't market it as well as we should have. I'm sure you must have heard of Three Gorges Dam. How many of you have heard of Three Gorges? Quite a few. China. They've marketed it well. Unfortunately, in Telangana, in India, we didn't talk about it. And neither did our leaders in Delhi.
I have to say, initially I thought it was the largest in India, and then I went to ChatGPT to reconfirm. It is actually the largest in the world. It was amazing to see that.
So combination of all this, drinking water, power, and irrigation, industry and IT, of course. So today we dominate, not just in IT exports in India. We are the leading paddy producer in the country. So this kind of turnaround happened because we were driven by a leader, KCR, who drove this with passion, with dedication and absolute commitment, 100% commitment. And that's why today Telangana is the state with the highest per capita income in the country. In 2014, when we started, our per capita income was 1,24,000 rupees. Today, I'm proud to share with you, it's 3,56,000 57,000 rupees, which is much, much higher
Fantastic.
than the rest of the country and the national average.
Absolutely. Okay, the next question, this is, an answer with all our charter members in TiECON Kerala, definitely want to know. The question is, how did you convince our Kitex Sabu Jacob to invest in Telangana? Most importantly, I have to add this question to that. Most importantly, what does Kerala need to do so that its entrepreneurs don't move to states like Telangana and the rest of India?
Well, Sabu Jacob's story, I don't know if anybody from Kitex is here, but what happened is I have this very bad habit of reading newspapers. It's a terrible habit. I read about 13 newspapers every day, and it really takes away about 1.5 hours of my time. So one morning I was reading Economic Times, and I see this news article which said, Kitex Group wants to move its 3,000 plus crores of business to another location. It didn't say where, when, etc. So I was fascinated. I read through the thing, and he said, he's having problems here. So I just clicked the picture. My habit is I have lots of WhatsApp groups in my phone for various departments, various party activities, etc. So I clicked the picture, sent it to my secretary, my industry secretary. I said, please find out more, and please get me the details of this gentleman. My secretary is a very sharp guy. So he immediately got me Sabu Jacob's number. So I texted Sabu Jacob saying, Mr. Jacob, I want to talk to you. My name is KTR. I'm the minister from Telangana. I don't get a call back. He didn't call. So I called him myself. He didn't answer. So I said, this is funny. Why is he not answering? So I called my secretary. I said, this guy is avoiding me. Maybe I did something wrong. Why don't you talk to him and make him talk to me? So he caught hold of Mr. Jacob. Then he conferenced me in. Then Mr. Jacob says, I didn't know it was you. I just thought somebody was pranking me. So I just, didn't want to be pranked. What happens then is something interesting. So I saw this news article on a Monday. On Tuesday, we are on a conference call. And this was in the middle of COVID, or just about the time we are getting out of COVID. So I basically on the phone, I made a pitch. I said, Mr. Jacob, we have a brilliant industrial policy. Why don't you come invest in Telangana, etc. He said, yeah, but, I have to check the flight situation and then I'll come back to you. Then I said, why don't I send you a flight? I said, why don't I send you a flight? He was like, what did you say? Come again. I said, I'll send you a flight to Kochi so that you can fly and come and visit me. He said, are you serious? I said, I'm very serious. He said, then let's make plans. I'll come on Thursday. And then he immediately asked me, can I announce this in Cochin? I said, please announce it, but only before you board the flight. If you announce it today, your entire government will come and sit at your doorstep. They won't let you move out. So please announce it when you're actually boarding the flight. So on Thursday, he boarded the flight without any commitment. He just was coming to do window shopping. He came in. So we hosted him. I received him, hosted him. Then I flew him in a chopper to Warangal, which is where our India's largest textile park is. Showed him the location. He shared plans with him. Then he flew back in the evening. He meets me and he says, I'm impressed. I'm going to announce 1,000 crores of investment. This is day one.
Wow.
Next morning, there is another offsite near Hyderabad airport. So we show him that also. Then he's even more kicked. He says, I want to announce 1 more 1,000 crores of investment. And 6 months later, after we did the MOU, he liked the way we did business in Telangana. And today, Kitex Group's operations will kickstart in December. In fact, this month, as we speak, the first phase will be launched. And altogether, their investments are now more than 3,000 plus crores in Telangana. So good thing is,
amazing.
The Economic Times piece which said this investment is moving somewhere. I'm glad it did not go to Sri Lanka, did not go to Bangladesh. It came to another part of India at least. Now the second part of your question on what Kerala government needs to do, I think the answer is pretty simple. We are caught in this mindset that whenever we hear the word disruption, whenever we hear the word startup, we think that disruption is only confined to the youngsters and startups and tech space, etc. Disruption can happen in policy as well. In fact, one of the things we did, you will be surprised when I say this. Our chief minister one day, when, in 2014, initial days when this new state was formed, he sat all of us around, including the bureaucrats. So we were having a conversation. One question he asked, he said, why should government be giving any clearance or any permission at all? Why should government give any clearance to an industrialist? Why can't we let them be? So all of our industry secretaries and commissioners were scratching their heads. What is the answer? What do I say to the chief minister who's asking me, challenging me rather, why should the government be in the business of giving approvals at all? They said, sir, but compliance, regulatory needs, if a disaster happens, how do we ensure that there is accountability, etc., etc. Then we found middle ground. We said, let's do this. Let's have an investor or an entrepreneur enter any enterprise, start day one without any clearance. Let them certify themselves that they are going to be in compliance with the law of the land. It's called self-certification. And simultaneously, let them put in a piece of paper or send an application online that I am going to be in compliance with the law of the land. Please give me permission, etc. Now then we created a legislation, an act called TS-IPASS. Now TS-IPASS, most of you who travel to the US or even who travel on the highways here, you have the fast tags, you have the easy passes. Similarly, what we created was TS-IPASS. TS-IPASS stands for Telangana State Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System. So, if you don't hear back from the government after starting the construction of your factory on day one, this might sound too good to be true for some of you, but it is a fact. You can start construction on day one without panchayat approval, without municipality approval, without collector approval, without going to the secretary, without meeting the minister. In 15 days after you submit the application, if you don't hear back from the government, by statute, by law, on the 16th day, it's an automatic approval, it's a deemed approval. And one last thing I'll say.
Definitely this deserves a round of applause.
And in case you're thinking, does it really work or is this guy a politician so he's talking fluff? Let me tell you, in the last 10 years, I mean, I have not been a minister for the last 1 year, but in the last 9.5 years when we were in office, I can tell you that we gave more than 24,000 clearances and 99.9% were within 15-day window. And we attracted more than 3.5 lakh crores of investment. We've been able to create more than 2.4 million jobs of direct potential, which is 24 lakhs. And we continue to grow. That's why the GSDP grew. That's why the per capita grew. That's why all the other indicators. The last thing I'll tell you, policy disruption is also about bringing in accountability. It's not just about creating fancy policies. So one of the things we did, if a bureaucrat is held responsible for holding your file, for holding your approval below, beyond the 15-day window, then we can fine, the government can fine 1,000 rupees per day till such time as that bureaucrat clears it.
Okay, that's an amazing policy. I wish all the governments could have...
Kerala can simply copy-paste it. They don't have to reinvent anything. Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan can take it, copy-paste, implement it. It's because one state in India, which is not very far from you, has done it, has basically, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you have to do is do a copy-paste, call a few secretaries from there, do a secretary level meeting, call entrepreneurs into a room, tell them, this is the model that we're going to do, and see why would they move to any other state in India at all.
Absolutely.
You're such a beautiful state, you're God's own country. Yeah. You don't need to move anywhere else. You have such beautiful coastlines and beautiful locations here, so yeah.
Yes, so what we need to do is we should have a joint meeting, that is, we need to set up a joint meeting with the secretaries.
Or you allow my party to grow in Kerala and let me run the government here. The Congress fellows, the BJP fellows and CPM, all of them will now crucify me the minute I get out of here. I have a target on my back.
Okay. Can you elaborate on the impact of WeHub initiative for women entrepreneurs in Telangana? I was very pleasantly surprised that you have a WeHub exclusively for women entrepreneurs incubation. So what is different from normal incubators?
See, the thing is, we didn't just stop at T-Hub and T-Works. T-Hub is startup incubator, like I said. T-Works is prototyping. Image is for innovation in there's various sectors like multimedia, entertainment. Then we also started looking at other things. We started what is called as TASK, Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge. Then we started another vehicle called as TSIC, the Telangana State Innovation Cell. We are probably the only state in the country which had an chief innovation officer in the state government. And then in 2017, November, we hosted Prime Minister Modi and President Trump's daughter, the advisor to US government, Ivanka Trump, in Hyderabad in an event called as Global Entrepreneurship Summit. The theme of that event was called as Global Women Empowerment. So we, as part of the 3-day deliberations and as part of the outcome of the event, we agreed that Hyderabad will create, Telangana will create India's first and one and only women entrepreneurs hub. Now, why is it important to encourage more and more women participation? Our leader, KTR, he keeps reminding us one thing. He says, 50% of the population is women, of course. And if you let them remain idle, you don't give them opportunities, you don't give them a platform, and you don't encourage them to be a part of productive working class, then essentially your country and your state is missing out on a huge opportunity. So he came out with a policy for women entrepreneurs. In industrial parks, we have dedicated, lots allotted. We have specialized incentives for women entrepreneurs. And we also wanted to create for startups and other youngsters, young women, women-led startups, wanted to create a platform called as VHub. Now, VHub is exclusive, is also, when I say exclusive, it doesn't mean that no men are allowed. It just means that the founders have to be women. Okay. They can have men also working for them. And then as part of the process, we again provide a similar mentoring services. We offer them, again, good guidance. People like Sangeeta Reddy, Vani Kolar on the board of VHub, all achievers. See, ultimately, Anisha, one thing is a reality, be it in India or the US. You need poster girls and poster boys, who can lead you, yes, who can inspire you, and who can actually bring out the best in you. That's exactly what we wanted to do in VHub, and I'm delighted today that it has become a success, not just for Telangana. VHub is now actually helping many other states create similar models and, give a huge push to women empowerment across many other states in India as well.
Yes. And I think the GDP is also directly linked to, women entrepreneurs, in the state.
In fact, Telangana also has one of the highest MSMEs led by women entrepreneurs in India. So again, very inclusive story. That's something I'm very proud of.